What's up and welcome back. I'm John Stark, MovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic. And today I'm going to review The Madness. Ooh, just The Madness. It's the Netflix series, not The Madness of King George, which is also a movie, which I should review. That'd be cool. But no, this is Coleman Domingo's limited series for Netflix. It's got Chernin all over it. Man, the audio description really lets me know it's being produced by Peter Chernin and Chernin Entertainment. And it's like a branding thing. Um, so um, this has a supporting cast of a lot of people I'm not familiar with, who all do fine work. Like I wish I paid more attention to like who these people were, but everybody who showed up did a good job here. The only one who stood out to me, who's actually there's two people, but it's odd that Bradley Whitford's name is never like actually mentioned um, in the opening credits. But John Ortiz is. And I thought John Ortiz did a good job here, but there are some other people who sort of pass into smaller roles. But of your like main cast, the people who always are in the opening credits, Coleman is anchoring that easily. I mean, Academy Award nominee Coleman Domingo, hopefully two-time Academy Award nominee Coleman Domingo, recent Golden Globe nominee Coleman Domingo for Sing Sing. So he really does a really nice job here. It's a nice thriller for him. It feels like the kind of thing he doesn't normally get offered, but it's very much your thriller. Like this feels like almost like the plot of one of those like 90s thrillers that you would have given to. This feels like if it was a movie, it would have been Denzel in the 90s doing this. You know, back when he was doing like random movies like Dead on a Blue Dress, he would have signed on to do this, you know, and it just would have happened. Um, yeah, it feels, you know, I mean, when you look at this or Fallen or something like that, yeah, you could see this. I could see this totally being on brand for him. So it's great that it's going to Coleman Domingo, who's spent his life sort of being a character actor, a supporting player, and now sort of he's starting to really get recognized as a lead. He was clearly like one of the best things about Fear the Walking Dead for several seasons, showing off his talents there. So I'm glad that people are finally recognizing that Coleman can be a leading man and really giving him the opportunity to present himself as such because he's excellent here. He's absolutely the reason to plow through this. It's kind of a weird story. He plays a CNN anchor named Muncie, um, who Muncie Daniels, I think is his name, and he's a guy. He's a who just finally gets his shot at like guest hosting for somebody like when they're out. So he gets an opportunity to have his own show on CNN for like a week or something like that. And then after that, he takes a break and he's going up to the Poconos to write a book. On his way up there, he passes this guy in a truck who gives him sort of this like, "How you doing, friend?" And I was like, I don't know how to read this guy, but he's like, "Oh yeah, if you ever need anything, my place is right up there." So they end up basically their neighbors, yeah, their cabins essentially, even though they're not like literally next door to each other. You know how cabins be up there. You need to enjoy your space. Um, so, but he's the closest person to Muncie, and Muncie ended up needing something. No, I don't remember. But he goes over and takes him up on his offer, and the dude's house is, you know, like the doors open, broken into, no one's around. He goes in. The guy has his own little. These are all at first episode, by the way. Actually, this is all like the beginning of the first episode, for the most part. The episode opens with him, sort of. I think it opened up with him in a diner, and then we flash back. So if like the whole episode catches up to where it opens, like it opens with him somewhere, and then you see how this whole day transpired. Basically, dude's dead, decapitated, which is like a hard choice. Um, you know, Muncie turns around. There are two dudes wearing masks standing there. He has to run for his life. He has no idea what he's in the middle of. Thus begins the madness, which is this plot where he gets blamed for the death of this guy who turns out to be this secret, like, white supremacist, like, uh, I hate to use the word, like, think with anything, so just troll. I'm gonna say troll online because that's where I feel like going with after white supremacists. I'm not gonna say he had any ideas. A troll online of some renown. Like people knew who he was. Brother 24, I think his name. Listen. So of course they're like, well, the black guy did it because he's a black militant, and this guy was a white supremacist. So naturally, um, naturally, the CNN anchor took it upon himself to just randomly murder this guy, who kept his identity under wraps. By the way, he had another day job. It's not really important, and Muncie has to basically clear his name by the end of the series, but also unravel the mystery of everything, like who really wanted him dead, who stood to gain from the death of this guy, who were those two men that were chasing him, so on and so forth. And the cops are looking for him, the FBI is looking for him, other bad people are looking for him. And in and around this, we get to meet, he has a wife that will be his soon-to-be ex-wife as soon as he can deliver divorce papers. And he has a teenage son, and he also has a daughter from like a previous relationship because the daughter is older than the son. So, but he's not listed as the father on her birth certificate. So like nobody knows she exists. So he has all these weird, interesting interactions with her. His friend is a lawyer and sort of tries to give him counsel as much as he can. He goes to this like cigar shop that he hangs out a lot with I don't know, like his crew. Like, I don't know, like it feels like they didn't want to do barbershop, so they did a cigar shop. Like they're like, oh, we've got a black cast and barbershop is too obvious. What if it was a cigar shop? You know? Um so he goes and hangs out at a cigar shop. And that's where his like he has these sort of like family friends that are there sometimes, like randomly throughout the series. And then he sort of meets people that help further, that he gets information from, and he uses that to sort of advance the plot, which is very twisty, and it was pretty interesting. I liked where it went, where it headed. The ending is clear, definable. If they order a second season of this series, I have no idea what it would be, because this has a very definitive ending to it, where you're like, that ended. The book was closed. We have a really disturbing trend now where we keep ordering second seasons of successful limited shows, and I suppose they could do the madness as like an anthology where someone else experiences another madness. But I don't know that they could do another one with Coleman, because this story has it has a beginning, middle, and an end, and it does not leave a shred of like a suggestion for a second season. It clearly, there's not even like a wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Like, well, maybe. What's your next step? Oh, I thought I'd look into this. Like no, it's done, signed, sealed, delivered. One of the things I really like about the series. So I enjoyed this. I kind of breezed through it pretty quickly. It's 8 episodes, so check it out because I liked it. Audio description done by Post House. For the most part, I enjoyed the audio description. I thought it was fine. There was one time, and I pointed it out on my blog, where I let people know what I watched on a daily basis. And there was one time, it was in the first episode, where I kind of, and I've heard some other stuff from Post House too, where I've been like, I don't know, that wasn't great. They used the word embarkment instead of embankment. And I know that that's a typo. It has to be because when you think about it, it's just swapping an N for an R, and then you come up with the word embarkment. But the fact that the dude read embarkment and was perfectly okay with that bothers me, because a narrator should, like, it's okay to have your own independent thought and to question if that's the right word. I know that many narrators, often what they get to see is not necessarily the finished product, but they do get to see some of it. So if he saw at all that this was a chase sequence, he would notice that the person in question fell down an embankment, not an embarkment, unless he thinks an embarkment is a real word, that you could fall down. I fell down the embarkment. Um, so um, it could have just been like a stumble too, but it just lets me know that quality check, that I don't know what the level of QC is at Post House, because it's something that immediately hit me. I was like, what did he just say? Because it's so weird, because obviously it should have been embankment. And it says that he has a pretty clear voice. Like, I can understand it. He's not like a British guy with an accent where it's like, oh, well, it was the accent. It was hard for me to understand. Nope. Nope. Fully understood him. Um, he said embarkment. So, yeah, I question the QC process and whether or not there is one. Um, so, uh, at a certain point, you got to make sure that the thing that you're producing is good, because it should lead to whether or not you continue to get more work. Because people likely will call into Netflix, and I don't think that many people are going to call into Netflix of embankment to embarkment, but it's sort of like a slippery slope where if you start allowing shoddy, just little tidbits like that, um, then it can build into bigger ones, and then that's when you start losing your gigs and people stop hiring you, and you start getting hired for shittier films, and then people just started looking at you the same way we look at some of these other companies that are almost always, whenever you're disappointed by audio description, you're like, yep, I predicted that. And I don't feel that with Post House, but I also don't feel like Post House is at the top. I feel like Post House is in this weird phase where they have the ability to become. You can either go and play with the big boys and be one of the top audio description companies, or you can allow yourself to decline and go down to the bottom. I feel like they're in the mid for me, and like, oftentimes they have pretty decent to solid audio description, and really the rest of the madness is fine. But this thing just made me question, like, did the narrator think about what they were reading? Uh, I want to blame the writer, but it was a typo. Um, and the funny thing is, I tried typing it, and so that I could type it when I was writing, and spell check immediately corrected me to embankment. It did not let me write the word embarkment. I had to force it to write the word embarkment, like when you type a word out for the first time, and then you have to go back and then it changes it, and you have to go back and delete it. It actually did that for me. So, um, I don't know how you actually came up with embarkment. Like, I don't know how that word existed, but it did. And it's very weird. Anyway, I've spent way too long talking about this, but I really do like The Madness as a series. It's something I'll remember. It's something I would recommend. If somebody was like, what's hot? I always get those people who like pop up and they have no idea what to watch. And they're like, tell me what TV shows to watch. And I'm like, The Madness. Um, yeah, especially if you can get past a decapitation at the beginning. The series is not pervasively violent and gory, but if you can get past a decapitated body at the beginning of the series, there aren't, like, it's not a subversively violent series. So yeah, Coleman's great, and I don't think he'll get awards consideration for this, because I think, like I said at the beginning, at the basis of this is just sort of like a standard thriller. I don't think this is necessarily awards bait for him, but he kind of elevates it in a way where it feels like he singularly could be nominated, and it wouldn't bother me. Like, I could consider him for an award because he's so excellent in this and he had a lot of range. So I like the rest of the supporting cast too. The actress that played his daughter, actually, I thought she did a really nice job. if I signaled out the second best person in the cast, it would be her. I'm not familiar with her as an actress, but I want to be more familiar with her as an actress. I thought she did a really nice job. She felt very natural. She felt like she wasn't. She felt like she wasn't acting. She felt like she was here. Like she just like they found a real person, and they were like, "Hey, we forgot to cast this role. Would you like to be in a movie?" And she just kind of happens to be. She has just sort of like this natural thing that fit perfectly into the role. You know, like a natural essence about her. She might be one of the greatest casting discoveries. Just for that very reason, is it never felt performative. It felt very, she felt so grounded. It was uncanny. It felt very just sort of like, this is me. Like I would not be surprised at all. Like if we did interviews and that was her, you know, like it felt very much like this might just be just perfect casting. So, yeah, I thought she was good. So anyway, I'm going to give The Madness, an A minus. Yeah, some of this stuff is a little bit like twisty, and but some of this twisty stuff is really good. Yeah, so it keeps you guessing for 8 episodes. It does kind of make you use up the 8 episodes. You know, I mean, like you do feel like your time was well spent. So anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the other side.